Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a good look at the new Envy 3-in-1 Airstyler. I'm showing you the box here and I want to discuss my experience with it. First, I wanted to thank Shirley's Wig Shop for sending me the Airstyler so that I could review it for you, and to remind you that Shirley has a private Facebook group called Shirley's Wig Shop, Hair's Looking at You Kid. It's a wonderful place where we exchange ideas and information. You can get to know other wig wearers, and we invite you to join us there. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe down below, like and comment, and we'll get started. So I know many of you are very curious about this Airstyler, and I have been doing quite a bit of experimenting, and I will definitely share everything with you that I've experienced. So I think the way I'll structure this video is that we'll go over what's in the box, look at the instructions, then I'll show you what happened the first time I tried it. Then we'll go over the other experiments and we'll look at each of the methods that's described in the video. And I will be focusing on the curling wand, not the other two attachments, because I think the curling wand is what's really unique for this new tool. And then we will look at a method for repairing singed fibers. And then lastly, I'll go over final thoughts and my impressions for this new tool. I wanted to mention, by the way, that I'm wearing Manhattan by Beltress. This is just an adorable, heat-friendly synthetic style, and just wanted to let you know that. So let's go ahead, get started. We'll open the box. When you open this box, you will receive the instruction manual. And of course, I've had this out, so the cord is not as neatly wrapped as it was originally, but you have the handle. There you go. And then the three attachments. That's the curling wand. This is the volumizing brush, and this is the smoothing brush. So let's go ahead. I'll take the handle out so we can talk about that briefly, and I'll show you how that works. So we have a few areas where you adjust the heat settings and also the fan settings. So on the bottom here, this golden swivel, you can turn and either you set it on high, medium, or low. I've been using medium and high. And then you have the fan settings, and there you have a low or a high. And then this is the cool shot function that is meant to be used to help the style set once you've curled it. And just be sure that you always move it back to the off position during the curling portion of your styling. So also in the back, you have a release here, and this is how you place the attachments on and off. Let's go ahead and we'll add the curling wand so you can see how easy it is to attach. So you want to make sure that you've got the handle, the clamp on the right side, and then just place it in there and twist, and you'll hear it click, and then it's in place. So this is what we're going to be using, and I wanted to show you the booklet that you receive. This is what it looks like from the front. And what I recommend, if you're certain that you're keeping the Airstyler, is before you do anything else, get a red pen and mark this booklet, because I found that it's a little bit confusing, and when I watched some live videos recently, I saw representatives from Envy mention multiple times that for synthetic fibers, the non-heat friendly traditional synthetic fibers, you should not go above medium heat. You should not use high heat on synthetic fibers. So the first page where you'll want to make a change is this page where you see the handle described. And there I would, instead of it saying synthetic works best on low and medium, I would cross out works best and I would say use only on low and medium. That's the first change I would suggest making. Then on each page, I would go through, and because these are instructions that you're going to be following when you're curling your styles. On this page with this is the Hollywood Glam, you'll want to circle heat friendly, and that can stay high heat. But the synthetic, you need to change that and mark medium heat, and I cross out this high heat. because the first time I used this tool, even though I had read this first page that said it works best, when I saw these instructions where it says high heat for both synthetic and heat friendly, I used high heat and I did singe my wig, and we'll look at that in just a minute. So I would change that on each page wherever you see that it's confusing and you might end up using high heat on synthetics. Cross that out for yourself and change that to medium heat. You can see I've done that on each page of my booklet. So that would be my recommendation. You will save yourself some aggravation if you do that. So next, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the result of the first styling attempt. So this was the result of my first experiment with the Airstyler. And as you can see, I took notes and attached it to the mannequin head for each of the styles so that I could remember exactly what I did to each style. So this is Zara Light by John Renault that I've trimmed, and this is just one of my styles that I have on hand. And what I did, I was very excited to try the tool, and I love creating beachy waves, so I tried the Surf's Up method, but I did not have the Beauty Mark Flex Hold Hairspray on hand yet, so I went ahead and I did it wet without the hairspray, and I did it on low airflow, but on high heat, because as I said, I looked at those instructions and I thought that would be safe. And then I counted, and instead of timing myself with a timer, I'm just accustomed to, saying 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And then later I actually timed myself, and when I do that, I actually reach about 15 seconds. So I believe I was trying to curl this style for 15 seconds multiple times in this area. And I was placing the fibers on the curling iron in this way, leaving a little bit out at the ends and then curling like this. And I had wet the fibers down here, but not up here. And I did that repeatedly and was frustrated because I wasn't getting a curl. What I didn't notice, I thought maybe I was seeing a little permatease at first, but what was happening is this. These are singed fibers. So what happened was this area that was not protected by any water spray, and where I was using high heat on a synthetic wig for probably 15 seconds each time I tried, this was the result. So this is what I would like to spare you and not have happen to one of your styles. Another mistake, of course, that I made, and such a rookie mistake, I'm really embarrassed, never test anything on the surface of your wig. Always try to test somewhere on the underside, somewhere where if you have a little bit of damage, it won't be so visible. So that's unfortunate, but this is a learning moment, I hope. And I think we're going to, at the end of the video, try to repair this. I've done some research. I haven't done it before, so wish me luck, but I'm hoping that I can save this wig, and we will do that together. But that was the result of my first experiment. You can see we just have like tiny little bends, but not really a curl. So high heat, wet, low airflow, 15 seconds did not work, and it singed my wig. So let's see if we can improve on this, and I did. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to go over all the different things I tried first with synthetics, and then lastly, we will look at a heat-friendly synthetic style and how that worked. So here we have another synthetic style. This is Zara Light in Shaded Peach, and I did some experimenting with her with the Surf's Up method. So first I'll explain what I did, and then we'll do a method that works together so you can see how I like to use this tool now. So first I tried water and hairspray together, which is how it's described in this booklet. You should divide the hair into a small section, spray it with water, spray it with the Beauty Mark Flex Hold Hairspray. Then you should curl away from the face, hold 10 seconds, cool shot for 10 seconds, and then you're done. So I tried it with the water and the hairspray combined, and you can see this definitely, it's a little stiff. That's what happens when you apply hairspray. And really no curl was retained. Maybe a slight bend. But then here you see we have a curl, and this curl I achieved by using only the Beauty Mark hairspray, no water, on medium heat, because these are synthetic fibers, And as you can see, this worked. This formed a loose, beachy curl. I will say it's a little concerning to use a heat tool with hairspray and no heat protectant or water. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I love to curl my heat-friendly synthetic styles, and I always recommend either using water or a heat protectant. And so it makes me nervous to curl a synthetic, not even a heat-friendly synthetic style, without a heat protectant. But if I look very carefully at this curl that we formed here, I don't see any singed fibers or any damage. So I think it has worked for me under these exact conditions. That's all I'm going to say. But if I go ahead and finger comb this curl, which I have not done, I wanted to leave it the way it was so I could show it to you. Of course, it's a little difficult to comb once you have that hairspray on there. And I did use more than 2 sprays, I believe, because I just was concerned it wouldn't work. Once you finger comb it, that curl, I mean, you still have a slight curl, but it's very loose, very loose. So that's what you have. But I'll show you how I did form that curl. So this is a section, it has no hairspray on it. I saw in a live video that they were saying you could curl a dry style, and I tried that and it didn't work for me. I think maybe when they say dry, they had previously applied hairspray, and so you still had some hairspray that was doing the work. It seems that the hairspray is doing a large part of the work here. But let's go ahead. We'll set our tool, make sure that that cool shot is off. We're going to set it to medium because we are working with a synthetic style, not a heat-friendly synthetic style. And I'm going to be turning it on to the low fan setting there. So first, we're going to spray the section with the spray and make sure that it's not too large of a section. The larger the section, the harder it will be for the curl to be achieved. So let's go ahead and spray. And then I run my fingers over it just to make sure that that's distributed sort of evenly. And then I like to take the curling iron, and I'm going to place it, and I like to, you can do this either this way or this way. I find this is just a little more comfortable for me. And I did want to mention one more thing. This, of course, is like a blow dryer. And then this wand here is made of metal. And so what happens is hot air shoots through this curling barrel, and definitely this area of the barrel gets warmer than this area. And I'll explain that later when we do the Hollywood Glam method. You'll see there's a difference. So I like to go as close to the handle as possible because that's where you have the most heat. And then I like to get it in place before I turn anything on, since the timing is so crucial and you don't want to do more than 10 seconds. All right, and then make sure it's nice and tight so that don't stretch it, but you want all of those fibers to be in contact with that metal barrel. So, and also just make sure that it's not overlapping too much or at all. All right, so now it's in place. Now, what you will need, what I've been using, is a stopwatch. I'm using the one on my computer. Since I'm using my phone, previously I was using my phone. And what I do is I go ahead and I turn it on and turn the stopwatch on, and I let it go 10 seconds. And then I will switch to the cool shot and let it go to 20 seconds because that will be 10 additional seconds. And then I will let go. So that's all going to happen very quickly. So I wanted to explain what I'm doing before I do it. And hopefully I'll be able to show you a nice beachy wave when we're done. So double checking, medium, cool shot is off. All right, I'm going to start my stopwatch, turn this on, and just keep an eye on that stopwatch. You'll feel the warm air coming out. All right, switch to the cool shot, and we're done. Now, with this method, you're supposed to let go immediately. So this is what we've accomplished. The barrel, of course, was cool. So I think if you've been using your tool for a little bit, the barrel will be warmer. But you can see we did achieve a little curl there. And it's still cooling off, so I don't want to finger comb it yet. But as you saw, this one had been cool quite a bit, and once you finger comb it, it gets really loose. So that is the Surf's Up method. I think you might have different results if you use a different manufacturer. You know, I think each manufacturer has their own synthetic fibers. But I would say for John Renault, it's a very, very loose wave that you end up with in the end with the Surf's Up method. So next we'll go ahead and we'll look at the Hollywood Glam method on a synthetic style. So here we have two synthetic styles. This is Sage by Estetica, and she originally had some wave to her, but I wore her so much that the fibers in the back here are quite straight, as you can see, and then I added a curl here. And this is Candace by Henry Margaux, and I used a slightly different method here with the Hollywood Glam method on her, and we'll talk about the differences. If you look at the instructions, you'll see that the Hollywood Glam method basically involves taking a small section and using the Beauty Mark Flex Hold hairspray only with no water, and then curling under instead of sort of a spiral curl like we did with Surf's Up. Cool shot, leave it on the tool for 10 seconds, clip the curl in place, and then you're done. So those are the instructions. So with these experiments, let's talk about Candace first. I used it dry with no hairspray, medium heat, low airflow. I think I did this before I had the hairspray, and you can see dry with no hairspray residue on there and no fresh hairspray did not work at all. We do not have any kind of curl that was created. Then let's look at Sage here. Now here you see we do have a curl. And what's interesting is that we have a curl. You can see towards the right here, we have quite a bit of a curl, and then towards the left, I did this was all one piece. It's much looser. So this was with the Beauty Mark hairspray, medium heat. And so what I think happened here is that I curled it this way and curled it under. And as we said before, this part of your barrel is warmer than this part. So we got more of a curl on the section of the fibers that was closer to the handle than we did when it's closer to the tip. And so that's something you'll have to realize. I think it's better not to take a very wide section, just a small section, and just place it here close to the handle. That's the way that this will work. And again, hairspray, no water is the only way I could get a curl. So let's go ahead and we'll do a section together again so you can see how I would do this. Maybe I'll lower this slightly. All right. So on this side, you can see we have straight fibers. Let me go ahead and remove that top layer just in case we have problems. So we'll work on this section right here, and actually I need to get another clip ready. You'll want to get some of these clips for this method because you're going to be clipping each curl in place as you do this with the Hollywood Glam method. So we'll create a section here that we're going to curl. And I'm going to create a fairly wide section just to show you the difference between where the fibers are close to the handle and where they're closer to the tip. And I'm trying to create equally dense sections. I think that'll be good. All right, so let's follow the steps. First, we're going to spray, maybe a little bit underneath as well. And then just run my fingers over that again to distribute that spray a little bit. All right, and again, I'm going to place the tool on the fibers before I turn anything on. So going again as close to that handle as possible, and here we're not leaving fibers out. All right, close that clamp and start curling under. And you want that to be taut. This is looking a little loose. I'm going to redo that. You want those fibers really to be in contact with the barrel, or it definitely won't work. All right, that's probably good. Okay, so now that's good. Now, again, I need to work with my stopwatch here. And actually, first, let's make sure we have it on medium and the cool shot is off. And we're going to be turning it on that low fan setting. All right, I hope you're ready. I'm ready. Let's go ahead and hit start. We're going to do 10 seconds of the medium fan, 10 seconds of cool shot, and then 10 seconds of leaving it on before we pin the curl. And I'm getting this ready. Get the little clip ready. All right, we're ready to start. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to turn the stopwatch on first. All right. Just watching that stopwatch. Okay, cool shot. Let it go to slightly over 20 seconds. Okay, turn it off. And then once we get to slightly over 30 seconds, so 10 seconds for each step, then we remove. And I'm going to try to drop this into my hand. Sometimes it sticks to the curling wand a little bit because of the hairspray. Take my little clip and we're going to curl this in place. This is the old method that we would use when we curled heat-friendly synthetic fibers, is to clip all the curls in place and let them cool that way completely until this sets. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back and we'll take the clip off and see what that accomplished. I'm back and this curl is nice and cool to the touch now, so let's remove the clip. And you can see that stays in place there. It is a shorter style as well, and I have quite a bit of hairspray on there. So this is what that looks like when I just remove it from the clip. And don't really comb through it at all. I just released it from the clip. So absolutely, we were able to create a curl, as you can see. Now let's finger comb it and see what happens to the curl. Okay, I actually think this curl is lasting. So I think because either these fibers are different fibers, this is an Aesthetica brand style, I think that this is holding this curl. You can see she's just such a cute little wavy style. And I think this would work. You do feel the hairspray and some of the fibers kind of clump together because of the hairspray, but I was able to recreate a curl that isn't immediately falling out once I finger comb. So I do like that result. Let's finger comb this one that I did the other day. Oh, and I didn't really, let me see. I think it curled the whole section, maybe slightly tighter on this side. On this side, as we saw, it didn't curl as much closer to the tip. And if I finger comb this out, I think here it is a little looser where it was closer to the tip, but here, closer to the handle, that is also remaining. So I would say on this style, the method worked. The Hollywood Glam method worked according to instructions with the spray, the medium heat, the low fan setting, the cool shot, the leaving it on the barrel, and then the clipping. So that's good news. I would say this method on at least this style is working nicely. So next, we're going to go ahead and look at both methods using a heat-friendly synthetic style. So the last style I'm showing you is Mesmerized by Raquel Welch, and these are heat-friendly synthetic fibers. Of course, I have trimmed this wig and I have curled her previously and straightened her again, so she's been my guinea pig for quite a few projects. But let's go ahead and I will read you my notes for what I've done in each of these areas. So let's start with Surf's Up on this section of fibers. I used it with water and the hairspray, which was the instruction in the booklet. And as you can see, when I do that, and you can see a little bit of hairspray residue there again, it also is a little shinier. It really did not hold a curl. So that method didn't work, which I'm finding that the water is preventing this curling method from working. So then we have, this is the Hollywood Glam method here in the center in the back. And for that, I used it as instructed, and I used just the hairspray, no water, and all the rest of the instructions for the Hollywood Glam method. And you can see this did work. Again, it worked a little bit better where it was closer to the handle than where it was close to the tip, but you can see we do have a curl there. Let's go ahead and finger comb it and see what happens. Yeah, it's holding a little bit of a curl. Of course, with the heat-friendly synthetic, keep in mind we are using the high heat setting, so it should hold better because you're getting more heat, and these fibers are just made for that anyway. So then this last curl, I accomplished by using the Surf's Up method with no water, just the hairspray. And then use the rest of the instructions as they were in the booklet, and this is what we achieved. So you can see we have these straighter ends, which is what we're going for with that beachy wave. Let me go ahead and finger comb this. I am finding that this is definitely holding the curl better than the Zara Lights did, and I'm not really surprised, as I said, because we're using a higher temperature, and these are heat-friendly synthetic fibers which are meant to be styled. In fact, they need heat sometimes to keep them looking their best. So, all right, that's very interesting. Let me go ahead. I'm going to place her back on my stand, and we're going to go ahead and do a section together. Let me see. I'll create a new section maybe on this side where we don't have much of a curl. And maybe we'll go ahead and use the Hollywood Glam method. So you flip to that page of the instructions. And again, we're going to spray this section with the Beauty Mark hairspray. And of course, this is the spray that is for synthetic and heat-friendly synthetic fibers, not the one for the human hair. All right, and then again, run through it with my fingers just to make sure we have even distribution on all the fibers, since this seems to be an essential part of the method. All right, next we're going to make sure that we have this set to the high heat setting because we are working with heat-friendly synthetic fibers. All right, it's all the way over there. Cool shot needs to be off. And then we'll be turning the fan on. And again, I'm going to go ahead and preset my curl so that I don't feel rushed once that stopwatch is on. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and start my stopwatch. Again, we'll do 10 seconds on the low fan, 10 seconds of cool shot, 10 seconds of leaving it on there, and then clip it in place. All right, everything is set. I think we're ready. Here we go. Waiting for that stopwatch to get slightly over 30 seconds. So we've done each thing for 10 seconds. There we go. Now release. I'm going to try to drop it into my hand again. There we go. And clip that in place. Hold it with my hand. Get the clip. Okay, now I will let this cool completely, and then I'll be back and we'll test this curl. So this curl is nice and cool to the touch now. Let's remove the clip. And you can see we are getting a nice curl right out of the clip. So I think that method is working nicely. As I said before, it does relax once you finger comb it, but I think you still have, which way are we wanting to go here? Not a lot of curl, to tell you the truth. I'm seeing, I should take this off for a second. You can see it achieved quite a bend there. That stayed, but the rest relaxed quite a bit. I do think that the Hollywood method that I did previously, maybe the barrel was warmer at the time, and the Surf's Up method probably worked best on this heat-friendly synthetic. So interesting. I do think it can work, but maybe I needed more hairspray on this section. I'm not sure what went wrong. You just have to play with this tool and get to know it. But I definitely think it's important to follow those instructions. Next, we're going to go ahead and try to repair those singed fibers on my Zara Light. So I have my Zara Light on a blockhead now. I didn't want to do it on the styrofoam. I don't want the styrofoam to melt. To try to repair these singed fibers that you see at the crown there. And I've never done this before, so as I said, wish me luck. Because this is a synthetic style, not heat friendly, and I'm very familiar with this tool. This is my little handheld clothes steamer that I like to use to style both my synthetic and heat friendly synthetic styles. And I'll leave a link to that in my description box down below. So this is what I'm going to use. Now, I would never do this ordinarily, but because I don't really think this style will be wearable anymore the way it is now, I'm going to go ahead and use a fine-tooth comb, which I would never do on a synthetic or heat-friendly synthetic style. And I also would never comb wet or damp fibers because the risk is that you're going to stretch the fibers. And when you stretch fibers out, they can become a little weakened and more prone to frizzing. So I normally would not do it, but because this wig is done, if I can't fix this, we're going to go ahead and try this method. So I'm going to apply steam, and I'll start here towards the bottom. It's about from here to here is where we have the singed fibers. I hope you can see that. And so I'm going to start at the bottom and just gently comb through after applying steam. This, by the way, is a heat protectant glove that I purchased on Amazon. I'll leave that in my description box down below as well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start the steamer, and we'll just work in very small sections very carefully. Again, this is the before, and hopefully afterwards I'll be able to wear her again. I love wearing this style in a ponytail, and I really hope I haven't ruined it. So let's go ahead and start.
When you're steaming your wigs, be sure to direct the steam at the fibers, not at any delicate portions of the wig like the lace front or the monofilament. Keep your steamer moving. Don't leave it in any one place for more than 3 seconds.
All right. I had to play with that a little bit. I did find that the method that seems to work the best and allowed the fibers to look smooth was when I steamed the section immediately followed with the comb. Instead of steaming and then combing, steaming, I just steamed and followed with the comb immediately. So let's go ahead. I need to let this dry. I don't want to interfere with these fibers any more than I already have, but just right now, you can see that this is the area from here to here. That is looking pretty smooth. So I'm hopeful that we have repaired that singed area. I think we have. It's looking pretty darn good. I'm going to let it dry and cool completely, and then I'll show you the result. And as you can see, that is looking better. It's not 100%, not quite as smooth as it is in other areas, but pretty good. I don't think anyone would really notice that. And I did comb her with the Jon Renau wide tooth comb, and I did realize I want to just touch it up slightly because this area underneath of that section that I was working on got a little tangled and matted. I do think it's wise to go ahead and apply a little steam to the full length and make sure that you're not creating a little matted section with your fine-tooth comb. So it's a new experience for me, but let's go ahead and do that quickly. All right, I think that should do it. Now we have nice and smooth fibers all the way from that matted area down, as you can hopefully see. So I think this worked pretty well. I'm very pleased to see that. And actually, this is also a wonderful method to use if you over Thanksgiving, maybe are cooking and open an oven and that sudden burst of heat singes a wig, especially a synthetic wig is when that's most likely to happen, then I think you might be able to use this method to repair any damage that was done, hopefully. No guarantees, but it did work in this case, and I'm very pleased I don't have to retire Zara Light here. So final thoughts on Envy's new 3-in-1 Airstyler, specifically the curling wand. Does it work? My answer is, based on my testing, yes, it can. Not on all fibers. It did not work on the Jon Renau styles that I tried. It did work on synthetic style by Estetica. This is Sage. And I was able to create curls here using the Beauty Mark spray, following the instructions. And you can see we just achieved really loose waves, really more than a tight curl after finger combing. But I found that combination of the Beauty Mark spray and following the instructions for synthetic fibers, which is to use it only on medium heat, no higher than the medium heat, that worked. And I think this is a nice way to touch up a loose, wavy style if it works for those fibers. The other style it worked on was the heat-friendly synthetic Mesmerized by Raquel Welch. Of course, these fibers are designed to be heat-treated. Now, I will mention that whenever we're curling heat-friendly synthetic styles, the advice that I always give is to use either water or a heat protectant to protect the fibers. John Renault recommends using their Heat Treat thermal spray for their fibers. I know that Hair You Wear has a new heat protectant that they like you to use on their fibers. Ellen Villa recommends curling heat-friendly synthetic fibers that are wet, so you spray them with water first. So those are the instructions from the manufacturers for how to curl their heat-friendly synthetics. I think it is unlikely, but we'll see. You might want to wait and see if any other brands endorse using this tool on their regular synthetic or heat-friendly synthetic fibers. I doubt that we'll see that, but we might. And of course, as I said, you're doing this at your own risk, and I'm just showing you what happened when I used these methods. So you can see we did achieve a loose curl here and here. I believe this was the Surf's Up method and this was the Hollywood Glam method. But the Surf's Up method, I did not use water, only the hairspray. So I find that that's what works. If you follow the instructions, and for the heat-friendly synthetic fibers, it's high heat, and then just the hairspray, no water, then it worked. Also, of course, I need to mention again that I did singe my first Zara Light that I attempted to curl, and then was able, though, to correct most of it, almost 100% again, with some steam and a fine tooth comb. So I was pleased with that result. But overall, I think this is something you can try. It's a little tricky to use, having to use the timer and all those specific instructions, but if you are just really aching to use Airstyler on some synthetic fibers, then I would suggest checking to see if the manufacturer has said anything about it. I suggest using it in an inconspicuous area, not on the surface, so that if something goes wrong and you do singe fibers, it can be covered by the other fibers. And yeah, I think that's my best advice that I can give you. Overall, I think it is an interesting new product, and the other attachments I can't really speak to because I haven't tried them. At least the volumizer reminds me of another tool that's out on the market. So really, this is the part of the tool that I was interested in trying. So I wanted to remind you that if you're interested in purchasing this tool, it's available at Shirley's Wig Shop, and I'll leave a direct link in my description box down below. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.